So, yeah, I'm now futzing with this because my GoPro decided to quit, and I have no idea when it decided to quit, so I will have to go back and figure out where. But anyway, I don't know where we were, where it pretty much stopped working at. But what happened is this bin got put up here wrong. Usually, I have the right side as my finished side just because I always go from right to left. Don't ask me why. That's just how I do it, and that's how I always do things. So I'm currently working my super wet, moist stuff that's on the bottom of all this. It's so wet. It needs to dry out. So I'm kind of reworking it to where I'm also adding more to the side. Because hopefully soon, real soon, I'll have the new setup situated enough to where I can move this into there. And it's starting to smell a little wonky. Just a little wonky. But it's a little off. It don't smell like dirt. It smells like swampy, mucky mess. And we don't want that. So I'm just working in some dry bits to this stuff that's not in the feeding zone. So it'll soak it up somewhat. And so this is the feed side. Is what this side that I want to redo is put my feed side back to my feed side and keep all the broke down stuff on this side. So this side is now a little bit of mix of not fully worked on to that side was worked on the most and the longest. So I have now moved it back to this side. And then this side, I'll let it hopefully dry out. And when it dries out, I'll sift through it, pull out all the castings, and then whatever is not finished as far as the new stuff that I put in here, I'll put it on that side. My new little buddies. So, this bin, as far as I was talking about the numbers and what I put in here, and I totally got brain farted again, like usual. Sidetrack, butterfly. You know how that goes. As far as the numbers now, I don't know exactly how many I have as far as my wild worms go. They did reproduce, or they are reproducing because I still have some in here. Now, whether or not I can tell the difference between my wild worms versus my other ones, I don't know. I should have probably double checked to see what the difference and how they look. But, you know, what's done is done. And I've still got some more over here that I want to break down here. So we're going to go like so. Make it an even amount here. I do want a kind of a big area-ish. Okay, so we'll make that a little even now. We'll put this up here. Let this break down. So Petco, I got 9 containers. So that's roughly, give or take, 270 that I added in here. Just from Petco red wigglers. And some were apparently were there a lot longer than what they prefer, so they were on sale, so I got a deal there. And so then I had added quite a few of the Canadians. So I would probably say about it's about what, 14, I think it was 12 or 14 in a container that the container would have. So I put, I think, originally 24 Canadians in here. And then I decided to take some out and have basically my own bin, and then I got a couple more. So I've been slowly trying to weed out the adult-sized breeder Canadians in here, so I can keep the Canadians in their own setup because of their specifics. They are not fun to have in a bin like this, especially when you have to you know, in your start, constantly kind of watch them, monitor them, and fluff them about once a week, you know, once a week, because that's about what I was doing, is once a week, just for the short number of worms that, you know, I have in here. And having them in here, it's like a battle, a complete utter war zone. And we will go over that when I get to my Canadian worm bin. And you will see why I am working on pulling them out. And apparently I've got rocks in here. I didn't know I had them in here. And I just wanted to make it a lot easier on myself in general as well. So I'm going to put some dry over there. So yeah, I'm not having loads of fun with the Canadians in here whatsoever. Hopefully any worms that were on that will kind of disperse, because I want to move this stuff off of here since I put it here. Stuff's kind of little ripe, but that's okay. They like it. Let's see. I think I got the rest. No, I didn't. Okay, so we'll move all that over there. Okay, so I already did it here. This section actually needs to be bigger, but it's okay. I'll just leave it as is for right now. And then we'll take this, move it over here. Oh yeah, that's, ooh, that is wet. That is wet. Very wet. They're liking it though. I got so many cocoons in here. They are definitely breeding, like you wouldn't believe. Oh, that goes on the food side. But, like I said, the smell, it's not bad, but it's not good. So, we will just take out this big wet clumpy stuff here. It's rich. It's definitely rich. Oh, I think we're going to do it this way too. Wow, it's wet. It's very wet. I'm just going to figure out how I'm going to mix this because there's so much wet and not enough space. Oh, you know what I might do? Because I do have so much wet. Okay. And then we'll just take all this really, really saturated stuff. Mix it in there. Worms and all. We'll get new bedding and stuff. And then we'll just do it this way. It's just too much to try and mix this little bitty space here. And I can't do it. I'm not a very tall person. if I gotta add, turn around and add a little bit of moisture, that's easier than having too much. So I'd rather have to add a little bit than have to add, it's easier to add some than to try and take away. Because when you gotta take away, you gotta do this. And it's a lot easier having to add moisture than it is to get it out. Because it is definitely just, it's too sopping wet for me. Especially with the smell that it's starting to produce at the bottom from it being that wet. And I added dry last time too, and it's still pretty wet. So we will fix that. And then just basically revamp this container. That's what I'm doing. Resetting it. There we go. That's what I was trying to think of. It's going through a reset. Since I did, you know, I am going to be switching it to a different way of doing things now that I have it in here. It gets morning sun. It doesn't really overly get too hot in here. That I remember. I don't know, it's been a while. But during winters, I can keep it at a comfortable, you know, 68 degrees and stuff. So that's kind of why I was thinking to go ahead and just do these in here. The garage, I can't regulate it. It still gets cold. Even with the heater that we got going on in there, it still gets cold and stuff over winter. And I think I'm almost about done. I've got it mixed up really good. Manure from the neighbor down the road and be able to add that into my compost, my pre-compost, and stuff like that from now on. Now that I actually have access to, you know, a good amount of horse manure. All right, there we go. So, what I probably should have did on this side, but we'll do it here. I should have added some dry on the bottom just in case. Just a little bit, not a lot, just a little. I've filled this container now. This black bin is now full. I don't think I'm going to be able to lift it. I think it's too full now. I'm not going to be able to lift this whatsoever. Oh. So I'm probably going to have to do, what I'm going to have to do is do it this way. I have no choice. So this bin's going to be too heavy. So we're going to have to do. There's so much I have to do this way. I'm not in any way going to be able to lift this black container. It's too heavy. And apparently I'm going to have to get like a rolling cart or something. So doing this way doesn't kill my back. as bad. I have a back injury, so these are a little hard for me to do. It all has to be high enough for me to be able to reach it comfortably. Because bending over, carrying anything that's a little more than roughly 5 pounds, I pay for it. So I have to think, you know, for myself, what's easy for me to do by myself, because, you know, I'm the only one doing this, and I don't have help, you know, doing this like some people do, like their husbands or their children or grandkids or whatever. It's not easy to do this when you have limitations. Stuff like this when you have limitations. So these poor guys, they weren't happy when they went on their trip. Now they're definitely not happy with me doing this, but it had to be done. I needed to get it done to get, you know, get the smell under control and stuff, and get this bin back to how I want it. Now they don't have to set it up for breeding, a breeding setup, because the one thing with the breeding is they don't like to be disturbed while they're, you know, in their breeding stage, because, you know, they lock together much like a dog or a cat does. And when you're having to sit here and do this quite a lot, you know, quite a bit or whatever, depending on how often you monitor your bins and stuff, and fluff it around and add food, and if something goes wrong like this, you know, you're having to futz with them, and they don't mind it, but they don't like it. And then once, you know, you accidentally interrupt a breeding pair, you don't know if that, you know, that's actually gone through or not. And, you know, maybe you interrupted them when they just locked, and, you know, then when you mess with them, they unlock, and you don't know if it actually, you know, the process has completed itself or not. So I really didn't want to set this big bin up as a breeding bin, but I kind of had no choice to try and get as many worms as I possibly can, because I actually have a lot of food currently being stored up for them, you know, for my worms, and I don't have enough worms to eat it all, and I don't have enough space to store it all in lieu of, you know, them eating what I've put in there. And so I needed to up my population of worms, like, really bad. And now that I've actually got, you know, the European night crawlers in their own bin, and some red wigglers in their own bin, so that way they stay true and not mix, you know, with what I've got in here, because I'm going to have a whole bunch of Canadians pop out when the eggs, you know, the cocoons hatch and stuff, and I don't want them in there. So until I can get to the point where I'm able to weed out all the Canadians, kind of like that bad boy right there is a Canadian. It's a young one. He's not very old, but, you know, that's a Canadian right there. Until I can weed them all out as they hatch and grow, and tell the difference between, you know, the Canadians and that, because there is a difference. Size, and then the way they look. They are a little different. And this one is not really happy with me, but I'm going to put it over here. I really got little ones trying to go places here. He is, like, stuck to this container, and he does not want to. Okay. get in the soil. If you get in the soil, you will go outside the container. Okay. I want to cover that side just yet because I got that fruit stuff over there. So okay, I've now got everything back in here. Boy, has this bedding fluffed up now. So I'm just gonna put it to where this bin will be, you know, the wild ones mixed with the Euro night crawlers and then the red wigglers. And so now I'm in my zone that I like to, the side that I like to feed on. And I don't really want to give it a whole big area because I'm still feeding fairly small right now. I could probably give them a little bit of something, but other than that, I don't really want to give them a lot. Because they're still kind of working on that. But I will give them some anyway. I'll give them just a little bit is what I'll do. Just not a lot. So. Now that I mixed in some of my dry bedding with that, I futzed that all up, but that's okay. I'll just take some of this and put it on top. So, okay, I'll be right back, and I'm going to go see if I could find something I can give them real quick, since I didn't plan on feeding them, but, you know, I think I have enough worms in here now. I could probably get away with it. Whew. I can kind of smell this down there. Whew. Yeah, I can definitely tell I flipped it. Anyway, so I got them some watermelon bits. I got them some carrot. No, this wasn't carrot. No. This was sweet potato. That's right, I forgot. And then I got them some squash. So we'll go ahead and, these are a little frozen. I tried to run some hot water on them for a little bit, but they need to sit in hot water for me to fully thaw them out. And I'm not gonna do that, so I'll just let them thaw out on their own now that it's on that end. And if I can get back in my gloves, then we'll just feed them that. It's basically what I gave them last time. I gave them a little bit of something else. It was kind of like a mushy, I'd say like a baby food consistency is kind of what I gave them. But I noticed my worms don't really like that very much, and they don't really do very well with the mush. I know a couple of people said that they actually prefer it, you know, done up. But so far, I don't know if it's just because of the amount of worms that I was working with or what, but they just didn't really care for it that much. And it just hung around, and then it started really stinking. And because I didn't give them that much when I did it, but apparently they didn't really care for it that well. And so what we'll do is being there is still some in there, but I'm giving them frozen food, so it's going to get a little wet. So we're just going to go ahead and add some good layer of this down in there. And then we'll go ahead and add some of this. I like to add some of their pre-done bedding on top, as well as, you know, throughout mix, because then what it does is it helps break down also what's on the bottom. It gives those bacteria and stuff a place to go into the next portion. Some people just add the dry on the bottom and nothing else, but I always add just a little bit of, you know, this stuff as well. my container's gonna fall over here in a minute. Okay, so let's take some of this. Yeah, see, they're frozen still, but they'll work down. Oh, I'm gonna have to get that before that's off. Where'd it land? Over there. Okay, so we'll give them some watermelon. Worms like sweet. They have a sweet tooth. So, watermelon sweet. It's got a lot of liquid. Let's go ahead and finish that up. And get that piece that they just dropped on the floor. Okay, watermelon done. We'll give them some sweet potato that I had. It was mushy. It was in a can. And I just diced it up into little cubes. But it's an old expired can of sweet potato. Yams or whatever it was that I had. Some off weird brands, so I never really wanted to use it. Because, you know, some brands, you just got to stick to what works. So I never used it. And I was like, you know what, I'll just munch it up into little bitty bits. And then a couple chunks of a squash thing I had gotten. Spaghetti squash is what it was. It was a spaghetti squash I had gotten. I was going to make it up. But then I ended up sick for a little while, and it kind of went bad. So, we'll just do that. Now, we'll go ahead and add my bits of food that I did find. These twigs, sticks, whatever you want to call them. Oh, I guess it does not realize you're not seeing me down on this end, are you? Okay, so yeah, I'm down on this end. These I have been trying to do for quite a while. Those are from certain plant. I will just not mention it. But you know, we grew some of those specialty plants, and for you know, pain management. And let me tell you, the stalks on those things, I have been working on that stalk for quite a while now with these worms and stuff, and they just do not want to break down. They definitely take a while. They are very, very hard. It's a hard wood, actually. I don't know if they'll ever break it down, but I've been kind of curious of how long it'll take them to break it down. And it's even gone through a compost period where I put it in my compost. But, I mean, look at this thing. It's not even soft or anything. It's kind of interesting, in my opinion, that those plants. Oh, I think I just flung a worm. No, it's paper. Okay. It's just kind of interesting how woody those specialty plants are. That they take a long time to break down. The smaller twigs didn't take as long. They're still, you know, they're still breaking down. But I could at least, you know, they're squishy enough to where now I can, like, break them in half and stuff like that. See, here's another one. Another twig. Or not, it's the main plant. Main part of the plant. But, yeah, those specialty plants, man. They can last forever as far as that woody part goes. So we'll add these guys over here. It's pretty nuts. You can definitely tell the difference between the side that I said was, you know, the oldest, to what is the new, you know, the newer stuff, that I had done that really was not that old. Because I was kind of doing it about, what, every week I was adding a new portion until I just kind of decided just, you know, it was out to like here or something like that. And I just decided to do the whole bin, even where this portion that was, you know, pretty much older. I added it in there too, just so I could get the cocoons. But you can definitely tell the difference of my older. See, you can, there's more stuff in this side that you can tell. Over here is more paper. There's not a lot. You know, there's some there, but it's not a lot. But there's more over here. And basically what I'll do, like I said, I'll just let this side, will dry out this portion the best that I can. And it's going to take a while because it's pretty wet still, even with all the added dry in here. It's pretty moist. Is just let it dry up. I'll collect off of it as it dries up. I'll sift it. All the stuff that's not worked down, I'll just put it back, you know, back in rotation. Or put it in a different bin, you know, whichever I decide to do with it. I might put it in another bin and let another group break it down. Like my ones over there, I could let them just break it down or something. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'll get a plan. I just haven't made it that far yet because I'm just trying to get this bin now back to how I want it. But there's definitely a big difference. This side's definitely done. And apparently I need a splash guard on my wall. But that's it for this bin.